For your entire life, you've been told that transformation means adding things, new routines, new habits, new ways of thinking. But what if the brutal truth, a truth discovered by the pioneering psychologist Carl Jung, is the complete opposite? What if real growth only comes from a psychological annihilation of the things that are keeping you small? Seriously, think about it for a second. The morning medications, the gratitude journals, those super ambitious workout plans. If you are just exhausted by that endless cycle of starting and stopping, you're not alone. And actually, you might be on the verge of a huge breakthrough.
All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to start with the world we all know so well, the world of self-help and the big promise it's been selling us for decades.
There is this massive industry built on one single promise: just add more. Add more habits, add more routines, add more positive thoughts. But when it doesn't work, the subtle message is always the same, isn't it? It's that you didn't try hard enough. The blame lands right back on your shoulders.
But what if the entire self-help world has it backwards? The psychologist Carl Jung, after decades of study, discovered a simple, kind of brutal truth. The reason so many of us get stuck, even when we're genuinely trying, is because real change doesn't come from addition. It comes from subtraction.
So why? Why doesn't just adding more work? Well, to get that, we need to look at the foundation we're all trying to build on. Let's call it the contaminated tank. Think about how much energy you spend every single day just performing goodness. You bite your tongue, you say yes when you desperately, desperately want to say no, you smile through situations that are totally disrespecting you. Jung called this the persona. It's a mask, right? And it's carefully built to win approval and keep everyone else comfortable. And man, it is absolutely exhausting.
And this right here, this is the core of the problem. That exhausting performance, the persona, is the contaminated tank. So when you try to pour something pure into it, like a new meditation habit or a real commitment to gratitude, it just inevitably gets spoiled by all the gunk that's already in there.
The crucial thing to get is that these deep, deep survival patterns have more gravity than positive thinking. They're heavier. So they just absorb any new habit you try to layer on top, and then they continue running the show invisibly underneath it all. That's why those new habits just never seem to stick.
And this leads to a really strange paradox. On one hand, we are literally drowning in self-help tools, podcasts, wellness apps, more than any generation in history. Yet on the other hand, we're also seeing record levels of anxiety, depression, and just general dissatisfaction. The math just doesn't add up.
Really think about that. If the answer was as simple as adding a new morning routine or a 5-minute meditation, come on, wouldn't we have collectively solved our problems by now? The evidence all around us suggests the entire approach is flawed from the ground up. Okay, so if the path of addition is just a dead end, where do we go? Well, we have to look at its complete opposite: subtraction. And these two paths could not be more different. Addition is all about piling on more habits and performing goodness. Subtraction, though, is about letting go. It's about releasing the core patterns, facing the truth of why they exist, and having the courage to let the parts of you built on that performance actually die. It really boils down to this stark but incredibly powerful equation. For genuine lasting transformation, subtraction is profoundly more effective than addition. It's not about becoming a better version of you. It's about removing what isn't really you at all. And let's be super clear about what subtraction really means here. We're not talking about managing your people-pleasing or reducing your fear of rejection. We're talking about the complete psychological annihilation of the entire survival strategy. You let it die completely. Because that good person persona, it wasn't just a habit, it was armor you built to survive.
Now, look, this process of letting a core part of your identity die, it is not a walk in the park. It involves a journey through a pretty challenging transitional space.
Jung called this terrifying transition period the void. And it's that disorienting space where the old self you built, the one all about performing goodness, has crumbled, but the new, more authentic self hasn't fully taken its place yet. You feel like nothing, and honestly, it can be terrifying.
But this, right here, is the most important thing to remember. Feeling lost in the void is not a sign that you've done something wrong. It is the definitive sign that something real is finally happening.
Real transformation doesn't happen in comfortable, well-lit spaces. It happens in the darkness between who you were and who you're becoming. So I want you to take a moment and just ask yourself, honestly, where are you on this path? Are you still completely exhausted from the sheer weight of carrying that mask every single day? Or have you started to let it go, and maybe you found yourself in that disorienting but powerful void?
So what's on the other side of this difficult journey? What emerges from the void? Well, the goal isn't perfection. It's actually something far more valuable.
What emerges is not some polished, spiritually elevated, perfect version of yourself. No, it's someone who acts from a place of authenticity, not from a place of seeking approval. It's the freedom that comes when you no longer need anyone from anyone else. You can finally operate from your own true frequency because you've released all those heavy anchors that were holding you down.
So the final instruction is simple, though I'll admit, not easy. Stop trying to add more things to fix yourself. Start letting things go, grieve the loss of the identity you thought you needed to survive, and in that space, discover who you actually are when you're no longer carrying all that weight.
So the path becomes pretty clear. First, you identify the mask, that persona you perform. Then, you consciously choose subtraction, not addition. You learn to navigate the discomfort of the void that follows. And finally, on the other side, you find what you were really looking for all along: true authenticity.
And that leaves us with one final crucial question to think about. It's a question that cuts through all the noise of self-improvement and gets right to the heart of the matter. Who are you, really, when you finally stop trying to be good?